Hello, this is Professor Montoya, and I'm going to go through in this little video presentation through a set of construction documents. And this is one of the Autodesk Snowdon Towers that appears as some of the templates for some versions of Revit. And let's go ahead and take a look at different components. So let's take a look at the cover sheet. This is the architectural construction document. In our project browser, we can see that we construct all of our different views and our models in the view space. So we'll close that. And our topic today is, what are all the sheets necessary for a set of construction documents? And the answer is, depends on how big the project is and what you want to get across. So if we're taking a look at the cover, let's zoom in there. We probably don't need the properties palette, so we can use that to our advantage. But this has some nice graphics on it, and the cover sheet will usually have the basic details, how to navigate through the sheet, what are the contents in the sheet index, who is building the building, who's the client, who is the structural, who's the MEP, who's the civil engineer, and those folks are mentioned because they are part of the sign off on this sheet. You get a project location. Sometimes you have a small map that includes the site, and if you have it within your budget, you will produce a very nice rendering such as this. But if not, you may simply use the elevation that you build to decorate or at least inform the audience as to what the construction document set is about. Let's take a look at how things are labeled. Okay, so normally you don't have a parking deck right off the bat. And so normally you can see how things are leveled here. Everything A for architecture. And so it's going to start with most likely A101 and A102 include our first floor plan, the second floor plan. And let's take a look. It's a big file, so it takes a little bit of time to regenerate. Okay, so typically you'll have your floor plate. You'll have the same information that was on the cover sheet. This time it's in a vertical format. You'll have everything you need for the first floor, including all the callouts, and then labeling each of the spaces. This one has structural, so you can have a column coming through it. I'm going to zoom in because one of Chapter 9's design influences is this commercial building. This has ADA, and this has the ADA symbol attached to it. And this is a very complex building. It has inside and outside areas. We have trees and planters. We have outside patio. This is a special condition. These are cafe kitchen, and this has different areas where the food is assembled. So this gives you a nice showing of different utility functions within a utility space on a commercial building. You can see the stairs, and you can see how thick that the stairwell is located. And it looks like we have a vent coming up through here. Anytime you have an X, that usually means that it's open, not, and as you can see in the elevator, that means it's traveling vertically. So my thought that this might be a stack letting air out of the lower floor, which was a parking garage, but more information would be needed to really determine that. So let's take a look. We have our sheets. So all the A for architecture and things that might fall into that, you get first, second floor, third floor, fourth floor, all the way up. 200 sheets. A lot of these actually, I don't think I've done a very large building in a long time. So they're going all the way to the fifth floor. Most of the time, let's just take a peek. Most of the time, it's a copy of the first floor. But let's see. Nope, the building gets thinner, and now we get into the $1 million lofts. So we can see everyone gets an angled view of the ocean or whatever the site might be because they seem to be lined up very well. Keeping with the construction document format, A200, existing condition elevations. So this would jump in there just in case there is a building. This looks like it's a retrofit, so they're incorporating new and old conditions. But normally they'll have the building elevation on A200 sheets. We'll regenerate and take a look. Okay, so the beginning of the elevations, this up front, we're looking at a north view. Let me verify that. It's not the tag is way over here. Okay, it's a south view on this side, and it's going to show this amazing structure. I need to not click so many buttons because the regeneration time. But new and old architecture is shown. So the 100s are flat floor plans. The 200s are all the variations of the building elevation. So we get two here, 201, 202. And you create these as you need them. So there could be a 203 if we have some unusual condition. Here they've busted out and they've made a close-up building section on how the ornate part of the building is going to be done. Okay. Now moving on to A300s. The 300s series is for building sections. So everything having to do with the section that we made, and we can tell that there are many sections just by the number of the callouts that are listed. I wanted to draw some attention to the different sections. You can go section 304. Okay, through the staircase was an important aspect of a building. So we're going to the 300s are all about sections. Now we'll go to the 400s, and we're assuming that the 400s are enlarged or detailed drawings. Let's take a look to verify. Okay, so it looks like the interior details are listed here. They're using a typical public restroom, and that's going to save a lot of time. And when you have typical, most of these are already standard stock images that your firm may have. You build these once and you use them mostly with maybe a little modifications on different projects, but you can see here that very standard. So you could almost be looking almost at a code sort of layout. So you don't recreate this all the time. So you have this particular typical things on hand so that you can pop into a sheet and therefore cover yourself legally as to say that you have called out ADA space. Sometimes when you go into a firm, uh, the first thing you do is you make these interior elevations, and that's your job for 6 months to a year. So you get pretty good at it. Here we have more interior elevations. I don't remember if our particular project has these, although we do have views, and you can make interior elevation page. So that is the 400 series. Let's look at the residential lobby. Okay, so different views, more details, specifically called out because the lobby is such an important space, and especially for interior design. And the opportunity to have these pendant lights, decorative windows. We have the revolving doors with the elaborate and special custom glass finished staircase. Moving on. So the 400s, we have wall sections, more sections. The 300s were building sections, and the 400s, larger details of those. Let's check out a wall section. And as we expect, these are at the 1 and 1/2 inch. And so each page has its particular, here's your 1/2 inch scale equal 1 foot 0 inches. It's going to show all the important aspects, the earth, our insulation, our material hatch, our joints for this curtain wall, what cuts through as far as a type of lintel. And so all those four A400s, we have sections. When we get to the 500s, we're looking at details. What can we expect? From those callouts, and the callout bubbles that we have on the floor plan, you're directed here. And on A500-01, you can see that we have parapet and informative drawings. Check out this, just a little style point. Normally I like to curve these because when you have them that straight, they don't read as well. And yes, this looks modern, but for me, it's a little bit harder to read. I'd like the type all lined up, and then I probably would do curves or a little angular. But that's just a style point. It's not to say it's good or bad. Let's go in, zoom in here. Staircase features, handrails, making sure that we're covered by code by allocating specific sizes for the run and rise. And that includes 500s. Let's go to A600s. Door schedules. So you're going to have the type of doors, a little drawing pictograph showing the types of doors, and a complete list of each room and each door that's contained within the room. This is part of your schedule. The thickness of the door, kind of materials, uh, material finish, head, jamb, sill. And usually there's a place for the actual product. Usually in the comments, you'll say a specific product. Uh, General schedule. Okay, very good. And then we have the 900s, perspective from above. And this is, I've not made a 900 sheet. This is for probably a project that has money. Or you could have a municipality is exclusively interested in how this building might fit into the larger scheme of the city. So they might have a perspective. Okay, so that one is struggling to load, and we assume that it's bringing in land data, and behold, it is. It's also a rendering and trying to show how the whole thing operates. Now, this particular Snowdon building, you can tell it's got a green roof, and so it has a lot of special conditions. A great building to study from if you're looking at habitating the roof. And then other things that are not particularly our concern are going to be the site plan, which will be given over to the civil engineer. Okay, so we do our layout. Sometimes we will include the site plan, and sometimes the architect draws it, but we also send that off to civil so that they can add drainage and show landforms. Uh, oh, I would be remiss if I didn't go to the cover. Okay, just an example of types of cover, and then the G sheets help you learn about the project, and it might have what they're trying to achieve. Let's go to life safety plan. So here they're exclusively answering the code. And let's see what we have. Fire resistant wall legend. So they've really broken out, because this is a very complex project. They want to show you where all the firewalls and how the separation happens. Okay, and they've even labeled how much time to get through, and they've even have the emergency egress plan. This is not in the scope of normal work. Usually this might happen later. So we will try not to confuse you. You can kind of not beyond the site plan down here. These are various exclusive things. These are structural. Let's take a look. The bays. So Not really your concern, but they will be added to your set of construction documents, and they'll come from civil, structural, or the mechanical engineer. So there you have it. A set of construction drawings for architectural. Typically, it goes, you can have A100 or you can just have A1, depending on the complexity of the project, personal preference. Smaller projects, you probably can just get away with A1. But something like this, more in depth, you can have many sheets that constitute the whole. But you can see that each time you jump up by 100, you're going to have a different type of topic. Those are always consistent. So if you look at any other project, you'll be able to find the same thing on page A200 in any project, and that would be an elevation. So with this, we'll close out on the cover sheet. And hopefully this kind of breaks the ice on what's inside a set of construction documents. They're fun to build, and it takes a coordinated effort of many people to build them. We, in our class, will be the sole provider of the entire construction document, so it's going to be a very exciting adventure for us, and we'll check that out on the next video. Thanks for listening.